Rabbi Friedman, thank God it's Tuesday. Always look forward to this moment. And again, we, of course, are very much in the midst of confusion. Confusion is, on one hand, it seems like we're back to business as usual. Everything opened up, the beaches are full, the weather is good, the restaurants are full, entertainment is coming back. But on the other hand, the news is pouring in like a thunderstorm, and where everything is becoming revealed, or a lot of the lies, everything that we used to think, or we didn't think, but people called conspiracy theories, are now actually becoming actuality, the actual news. And it's very, very hard to tell, because are we going back to business as usual? Because people do have a tendency to forgive and forget and, have things back to normal, as we call it. Or are we about to see something hit the fan?
Well, right now, I would like to see you.
Oh,
I don't see you.
You don't see me. Okay, I will try to work on that. But we do see you, and the play out shows both of us. I will try to figure it out. I'm new at this. I never used to run the show on the technical side. This is my third time. I'll get better, I promise. We hear you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So going back to business as usual, that's a little disappointing. It's like the airlines. You've had a year to get sorted out and to figure out how to improve your service. Nothing's changed. The same lines and it's nothing. Nothing has improved. Back to the way it was. And the way it was far from perfect. Schools, the same stuff, the same conditions, the same silly restrictions, and yeah, that's disappointing. But the people notice it. And there's a disappointment there, because we did get a glimpse of something better. And we were hoping that would become the new reality. But we're going back to the old reality. Now, I'm hoping that it's not going to work. We're simply not going to accept it. We've seen what could be, and we're not going to be comfortable with what was anymore. So hopefully we'll assert our views or our opinions, and we will demand better. And when you demand better, it gets better. But the fact that the truth is becoming so clear, that's exciting. That is definitely happening. It's just going a little too slowly.
Yeah, way slowly.
I'm a little impatient with this process, but we're in the process.
Rabbi Friedman, I'm just curious of why the people are so forgiving so quickly. I mean, people would like to sort of forget everything that has happened over the year and get the fun back into their life and get the excitement back into the life. And I'm more worried about the values that are that we see right now, that we were actually hoping would change throughout this period of a year and something. And yet, unfortunately, we see that people really liked what was happening before, the fun part of it. And that seems to be a little scary, because unfortunately, if it seems like that is what brought us here.
But that's all in the media. How people are reacting to the return to normalcy is what the media is reporting, and the media has nothing new to say. So they're following the old lines, and they haven't changed their vocabulary, they haven't changed their values or what they notice or consider newsworthy, so you really can't trust what they're saying. People have become better. How that will translate into society, into social behavior, that remains to be seen. But the media has to really do a complete turnaround, because they were totally wrong on everything, particularly values.
Rabbi Friedman, the media has been wrong. It's still not admitting that. We do see some media working very, very hard, at least some media that is not getting shut off. I would say only the Fox News, unfortunately, at this point, that is not getting shut off, that they're big and heavy on everything that is going on. But the good news is we have now people that are standing up for values. We had a wonderful mother from upstate Carmel, New York, really letting it have it to the Board of Education. It's exactly the topic we had last week about what the schools what the schools and the Board of Education is doing to our children, and she stood up and it became viral. So it's great. It's just a matter of how are we going to get this done? How many people are going to finally understand that they have a voice and they can make their voice be heard?
There was also the highest ranking priest in Germany, Catholic, the highest official in the Catholic Church in Germany, sent a letter to the Vatican saying that he is resigning, he quits, and he gives his reasons, and then he says, the church has basically come to a dead end. I had been talking about this to the students at our college women's program. And we're talking about, can the world become really, really good in a short time? Or are all our hopes long-term visions? By next week, can the world become radically better? How many people would it take to make the world radically better? So we were talking about how easy it would be if somebody would simply get up and say, like concerning the Catholic Church, yes, we've been wrong. The Torah was good the way it was. We didn't need to try to enhance it. We didn't need to tamper with it. 2 billion people will suddenly be better. So it's really quite easy. Did we speak last week about when the rioters are burning down buildings and turning over police cars? What would it take for a popular celebrity to get up and say, people, stop it. What are you doing? Build the community. Don't destroy it. That's it. It is so easy. Just have to have a little bit of moral fiber and the courage to say it. That's all. We don't all need to go through profound, deep therapy to find our moral legs to stand on. It's right there. It's right there. Take a bunch of angry, frustrated young people who are rioting in the streets and just say, what are you doing? This is it? This is your life? Come on. Not anybody can say that, but somebody that they respect, in 10 minutes, you turn the thing around from one extreme to the other, from total destruction to complete moral and constructive behavior. It really is easy. And that's why it's so frustrating that it's not happening. So it's not an unrealistic dream at all. It's very realistic. Let's talk for a moment about the Parsha. The story of Korach. Korach was a head of the tribe. He was a prominent person. He was a very wealthy person. And he was a very good person. But he challenged Moshe. And mainly he was upset that Moshe had appointed his own brother, Aaron, to be the high priest. And Korach felt that he should be the high priest. Anyway, the rest of the story is that the earth opened up and swallowed Korach and his family and his followers. And that was a nasty, sad ending. The Rebbe once said, the Torah is telling us this story not just to tell us that bad guys get punished. There's something very right about Korach that we need to know. Korach wanted to be the high priest. The highlight, the most appealing aspect of being the high priest is that you get to go into the Holy of Holies on Yom Kippur. He wanted that. Korach wanted to have that experience. And that was good. We should all want, and seriously want. We should yearn for it. But to actually be the Kohen Gadol, you got to be from a different family. You have to be from the side of Aaron. So Korach desperately wanted to be the Kohen Gadol, which makes him a very good person. His mistake was he thought he could actually be the Kohen Gadol. And that was not true. He couldn't actually be physically, but the desire, the yearning, that was very noble, very right, very admirable, and everyone should feel that way. So now we have a new concept. Knowing that you can never be the high priest, should you yearn to be the high priest, or is that just frustrating? Should you yearn for something good, holy, and positive, even if you know you'll never make it? So you can argue both sides. You can say, look, if you can't make it, then drop the subject, be realistic, and go try something you can succeed at. Or you can say, you're never going to go into the Holy of Holies, but the least you can do is wish you could. You should at least yearn for that experience, even if you can't actually have it. The Rebbe is saying that yearning for something holy and good is in itself valuable, even if it can't become a physical reality. And no, it's not frustrating. It's uplifting, it's inspiring, it's refining. It makes a mensch out of you. Knowing that you can't do it, but your heart's in the right place. And that's very meaningful. To want what is right, to want what is good, you never give up on that. Why should you? The yearning for goodness is in itself goodness, even if you never get there. So the Baal Shem Tov taught a very profound philosophical concept. where your heart lies, that's where you really are. A man sitting in jail, yearning to be back with his family. Is his yearning inappropriate? Just frustrating? Give it up. You're in jail. You're not getting out. Just be a prisoner. That's your reality. Yearning to be with your family is just going to frustrate you. No, God forbid he gives up the yearning for his family. He can't actually plan to be with his family. There's no strategy here. But the yearning is what keeps him alive. It keeps him from being reduced to an animal. So the yearning itself is of great value. So we should applaud Korach for desperately wanting to be a Kohen Gadol. He overreached, thinking that he could actually be. And that was his mistake. But in the meantime, we learn something great from him. So, as unrealistic as a virtue might be, it is really, really good to yearn for that virtue. It doesn't frustrate you. It liberates you. It liberates you from the limitations that you unfortunately have to live with. No, you can't be the Kohen Gadol. No, you cannot go home to your family. But if that's where your heart is, then in a real sense, that's where you are. Then on that level of your soul, you're not in jail, you're not in prison, you are home with your family. And that's real. It's not physical, but it's real. So yearning for Mashiach has always been in and of itself a virtue. So, for example, to say, my grandfather really yearned for Mashiach. Too bad he never got to see Mashiach. So was his yearning in vain? Was it a foolish, childish hope? Was it a fantasy? Not at all. His yearning for Mashiach kept him young, kept him good. It lifted him above the horrors of Siberia and Hitler and Stalin and it was very good because part of him was not suffering those horrors. Part of him was already with Mashiach. So every positive, virtuous, holy possibility should be something we yearn for. A husband should always be yearning to be a perfect husband, knowing full well that he will not ever be a perfect husband.
Rabbi Friedman, we yearn right now for morality. I think that's pretty much, not everybody understands that yet, but I think deep down that's what everybody wants. And those who do understand, they just yearn for everybody else to see what they're seeing. And that is just, and this is where the frustration is right now. Once somebody speaks up, everybody's so excited. Oh, look, somebody spoke up. And I feel exactly the same way this person does. And this is exactly what I want to say out loud and want to be heard. What can people do when they have such a yearning? How can they come together to start expressing what is true to them, which is actually what is true, period.
Well, this is what is unique about morality. Morality is never a dream. It's an obligation because it is doable. It is doable. It can be real in the physical, and it must be. So to yearn for morality is inappropriate. What are you yearning? Go do it. Of course, we hope to see everyone doing it. But it shouldn't be frustrating because as we're hoping and waiting and anticipating, we're also doing it. We're making the world better. So it's not like we feel paralyzed. We should not get ambitious to where the only good I can do is to get 1,000 people into the streets singing, "We want Mashiach now." I don't have to get 1,000 people. How about 2 people? That's realistic. But I can do it, not just yearn for it. So we're distinguishing between having your heart in the right place, which is very important, versus doing the right thing, which is even more important. So when it comes to morality, action is the main thing. And it's doable. It's very doable.
The concept of morality, as simple as it is not very simple to a lot of people. When people speak to each other right now, when they express some kind of frustration about the world today, they will say, this is wrong, and this is wrong, and this is wrong. Everything can be kind of packaged into moral and immoral. And I'm so smart only because we meet every Tuesday, and I got it. I got it from you, Rabbi Friedman, and I hope everybody who listens to us benefits just the same. But still, there is no very simple explanation that it's not fair or unfair, but it's really moral or immoral. It's not really right or wrong. It's really moral or immoral. How can we package it to make people understand how simple and fast we can differentiate, the good from the bad these days just by understanding morality? How would you explain that?
There are endless levels of morality, because morality is godliness, and godliness is infinite. But there's your most fundamental, like starting point, minimum requirement of morality, and then it goes on and on, endlessly, higher and higher and greater. What is the minimum? The minimum is you are obligated, you are required, make life on earth more livable, not less livable. That's our first obligation. Burning down buildings does not make life more livable. Violence, being afraid to walk in the streets, does not make life more livable. Offering protection, making the streets safe, life is more livable. It's a very simple formula.
But how come so many good people still have it wrong and protect that kind of behavior? Not necessarily doing it themselves, but saying, yeah, we understand, they have a right. Everybody's rights need to be protected.
Nobody believes that. The people who are supposed to stop the riots and can't use this as a cop-out. Oh, they're entitled to their rage. Yeah, because you don't know what to do about it. Nobody really believes it. They say it in front of the camera, and then they go home and curse the people who are rioting and hope the worst for them. No, nobody really believes it. So again, that's media, that's public posturing. And
Rabbi Friedman, but how are we supposed to treat, speaking about the media, the whole last week we've been hearing that everything that people trusted for a whole year, and the person that was calling all the shots and was the most trusted source in this COVID pandemic, which is, of course, Dr. Fauci, that he was pretty much, guessing. And everybody was doing whatever he was saying. I mean, what kind of conclusion should people really, from a moral standpoint, come out from this?
He was guessing.
Seems like.
Everyone was guessing. Nobody knew for sure. And that's his justification. He said, I changed my mind many times. We got more information, we got newer information, so we had to change your, you adjust with the new information. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that is that each time he made the adjustment, it was like, this is for sure. Now we got it. No, you didn't got it. You were still guessing. Why didn't you say so? Why did you make it sound like you're absolutely sure and this is absolutely what everyone must absolutely do? What are you playing this game? You can't admit that you're guessing? Which is what you were doing all along, if not worse. You were part of some kind of a greedy scheme. So what do we learn from this? You gotta be honest. Don't manipulate the news. Don't manipulate people's opinion. That's evil. It's an evil that was hiding very well behind titles, degrees, authority. No more hiding. I don't care how many degrees you have, and I don't care how many papers you've written and published. When you're wrong, you're wrong.
Rabbi Friedman, right. Rabbi Friedman, so much things are coming out, but it still seems that the people who are in control are the people who were creating it. So how do we go about fixing it? Understanding and seeing things is wonderful, but having the authority and the ability to fix it, that's a totally different ballgame.
Well, there comes a tipping point. I'm not sure where that is, but there's a tipping point. We'll put up with a certain amount of misbehavior and lies, but then comes a tipping point and nobody's going to put up with it anymore. We're close, but we're not there yet. But here's another thing concerning morality. When people decide that they want morality, they immediately reach for the highest levels that they can imagine. Utopian morality. Let's all love each other. Isn't that a nice idea?
Lovely.
Yeah. But also laughable. You don't even love your own wife, but you want everybody to love everybody. What are you talking about? What kind of foolishness is this? Are we on that level? The only thing missing in our society is love for everybody? It's so unrealistic. And it can very easily be used as a distraction. Instead of focusing on the immorality that must stop, we get people thinking, oh yeah, wouldn't it be nice if we all loved each other? It's so Hollywood. Make believe. We need morality. Morality as it applies to our behavior in everyday life. Someday, maybe, everybody will love everybody. I can't even imagine what that would be like. I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure that it's a good idea. You walk down the street and everybody loves you? Please, do me a favor. Leave me alone. I don't know. But morality is much more fundamental than love, because love is an emotion, a nice emotion. It's not a moral obligation. The moral obligation is do no harm. First, do no harm. That's got to be in place before anything else. You may have wonderful ideas. You want to start a revolution to free the workers. Okay, first, do no harm. If you're causing harm, then your value and your ambition and your goal must not be sincere or correct. Because so far, all it's causing is pain, harm. And the rule is, first, do no harm. You want to be a doctor, you want to be a healer, you want to be a surgeon, you want to save lives? Wonderful. Don't use that as an excuse for hurting people. We got to experiment in order to get perfect at this, so we have to massacre a few operations just, to get... No, you can't do that. You cannot hurt one person so that you will be able to benefit many. It sounds reasonable, but it's immoral. You may not. You may not sacrifice your firstborn in order to bring rain for the entire region. I thought those days were over.
So there is no stepping stone periods of times where we need to have a war in order for society to become better.
No more of that.
Rabbi Friedman, I'm going to ask you to do something, and I hope you don't get mad at me, but can you please look inside that special place in your soul that knows things and tell us what is going to happen in the near future? Getting a little antsy. What do you think? How do you think things are going to turn out soon?
There's no place inside of me that knows. But looking at the world tells you what's happening and what's about to happen. And so first of all, we're going to get very rich.
Wow.
People are very worried about the economy.
You mean all of us? Or just those select special few?
The way the government is spending money, it's worrisome. I mean, it's nice. Everybody's getting checks in their mail and in their bank accounts. Like, this is a free-for-all. We're having a party here, but it's like a drunk party. Yeah. So people are worried that economically we're just going to be a disaster. Actually, the wealth is going to be so great that trillions of dollars will mean nothing. Nothing. It already means nothing. So that's definitely coming in the very immediate future.
Rabbi Friedman, can you just elaborate on that a little bit? You're saying, like, wealth, like, what does it mean? Right now we have the few the select few who are very, very rich. Then we have a little bit of people in the middle, and then we have a lot of people who are actually poor by comparison. So how would that all work out?
They have all gotten wealthier. The rich have gotten richer, and the poor have gotten less poor.
Okay.
You want to put it that way. The prediction was that because of the lockdown, everybody's going to go bankrupt. Everybody's going to suffer. The economy is going to fall apart. It's going to be a disaster. People are making more money than before. But everybody thinks they're the exception. It's not an exception. Across the board, people are making more. People are contributing more. There's more charity going on than there was 2 years ago. So we need to take a better look at the whole economic system. It's going to get better. Our resources are going to increase dramatically. And trillions of dollars will mean nothing. That's pretty obvious.
Mm-hmm. And
then the government, all government, is in crisis. I don't know if it's ever been this way before. Every country, every government is in crisis. How is this going to end? Global disaster? Every country is going to fail and fall apart and disintegrate into civil war? No. Nobody wants it. Nobody agrees with it. No. The conditions, the circumstances don't warrant civil war. A lot of confusion, a lot of friction, a lot of nasty words, but civil war? No. So what's going to be? What is all this confusion? What is all this failure going to lead to? It could very easily lead to a vast improvement. When people finally admit failure, then the possibilities of success are infinitely greater. So recognizing a failure does not mean the end of a project, the end of a country, the end of a society. It means now that you are admitting it, now we can do almost anything. Now our options are very open, very wide, very available. So the fact that we're all admitting, Israel, for example, what a mess. What a total dysfunctional system.
I'm glad you're saying it.
Well, everybody's saying it.
Yeah, I didn't want to touch that one today, but I'm glad you are, because obviously everybody has tremendous questions about what is going on there. I mean, they're realistically, right now we have a government that by no means should be able to come to terms on anything.
Right. We have a government that can't possibly govern. It's true. And it's not like one person is misbehaving. No, the whole system, we don't even know how to fix it because everything is broken. And the same is true in the States. It's out of control. It's like there really is no government. And everybody admits it, or almost everybody. That's good news. When we admit failure, then we are ready for success. So this is the optimistic view of what is coming. What is coming is vast and significant change. The kinds of changes we always hoped for, but it wasn't realistic because the people in power were very well entrenched and there was no moving them and nobody was going to challenge them, and it was just going to go on and on and on. But now it can't go on and on and on because it's a disaster.
For sure.
A disaster that everybody sees. And that's why the theme of this year and a half or 2 years, what was hidden is no longer hidden. That's it. Revelation. Not revelation from heaven, revelation from earth. Things are becoming revealed. Things are becoming clear. And that's always good. A little painful, but very good. Very positive.
Rabbi Friedman, amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for the influx of the positivity, of clarity, of wisdom that we get from you every week is absolutely priceless. And it's definitely everything you started to say to us over a year ago has been exactly right. And I hope that we will see this revelation rather sooner than later. And I think everybody is on the same page that this is all what we're yearning for at the moment. And God willing, this is what we will see very, very soon. And thank you so much for speaking the words and giving us this inspiration to keep it together in this not such an easy period of time in our lives.
I think the key line is sooner than later.
Amen.
It's not if, it's just a question of when.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Sooner is better than later.
Yes, in this respect, 100%. Thank you so much, Rabbi Friedman. Yeah. Looking forward to our next Tuesday already, and I'll fix whatever glitches I had technical today. The output was fine. It's just the...
Good. You are, after all, a radio.
Yes, exactly. Good. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful, wonderful week until next Tuesday.